Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and this is day one entering Mexico, and crossing the border was the easiest part. They didn't even have anybody at the booth to stop and ask anything. But then when we got a few miles down in, we had to stop at the customs checkpoint, and there they came into my motorhome, opened up my cabinet doors and my refrigerator, just had a quick look, did not do a thorough job at all. They just had a quick look in the cabinets, refrigerator, to see if it was just normal stuff that tourists would have. So that went fine. But then several more miles down is a place where you have to stop to get your Mexican visa and the vehicle permits. This sign here tells a little bit about it. The visa is only a small charge. The vehicle permits, I'm not sure yet just how much it's going to cost, but it's really a deposit. You get that money back when you return to go back into the States. I guess they want to make sure you don't leave any vehicles in Mexico. I suppose that's what it's about. And I also got my insurance. I'm sure you know about Mexican vehicle insurance. That was expensive. For my motorhome and my motor scooter, that cost me just under $1,000. And the vehicle permit, you can pay for that with a Visa or MasterCard credit card, so you don't have to come up with pesos for that part of it. These are all of our RVs parked at the place where we get the Visa and vehicle permits. We have 13 RVs in our caravan, and most of them are couples, but there are 5 single people here. And with all of us showing up at once, there's a long line of people to get in to get the visas. You can buy your vehicle insurance here, but it's best to do it online before you go into Mexico, so you know you've got coverage as soon as you cross the border. And you can get pesos here, but I got mine at a cash checking place in Tucson. Well, folks, we are at our RV park on the first night in Mexico, and let me give you some numbers from getting the visa and the vehicle permits. The visa, which they actually call a tourist permit, is $6. That was easy to get. And then you go to another place, from one office to a second office, to finish the paperwork. And then you go to a third office to do the vehicle permits. And let me tell you, that was a, I might say, horrendous experience. They want just every piece of paper documentation you can think of, and they'll want copies and the original. And they don't have a copy machine. They expect you to get your own copies, or you pay for them. There's another place to go to get photocopies that you pay for. And for all of the 13 RVs in our group, we were there for a good 3 hours getting everybody through all of the parts of the process. And even if you go there by yourself, where you don't have to wait in line, still expect to spend maybe an hour there going through all of the things they put you through, and you better have the right paperwork or you're not going to get in. But now you only need to do that if you're going more than about, I think it's about 15 miles down into Mexico before you have to have that. So if you're just going to border towns, you don't need it. And I had to do everything twice. One from my motorhome, one from my motorcycle. So for the motorcycle, it was $56, and then for the motorhome it was $470. And then when I leave Mexico, I get a refund, but they're only going to refund $412. So they'll keep the rest to pay for their services, for someone to do the paperwork. I think it's all kind of silly. It doesn't do anything for them, and it doesn't do anything for us. It's just a big annoyance. Keeps people employed, I guess. That's about it. All they care about really is they want to make sure you don't leave any vehicles down here, because then they got to tow them off or something. So if you come back to the States without your vehicle, it's not really going to be a problem for you, except, well, you've lost your vehicle. Maybe you didn't even want it. And then they have to do something with it. And, of course, you don't get your refund back. So that's the deal with that as far as I know. Now let me show you a little bit around the RV park here. There's the shower and restroom building. There's my long, tall shadow. It's late in the day. And we're going to have a potluck dinner right here on these picnic tables. And all of the RVs are just kind of, they look like they're haphazardly parked, but they are parked up against service posts. Now let me show you what a typical Mexico RV park is like. This is the space right here. And there's this bush right in the middle of where you would park. Right underneath the middle of your RV. Now, there's me right there. And here, I've got full hookups. However, this is a 30 amp power box, which is dead. No power coming out. And there's no breaker switch. I do have a dump station there and a water faucet. So I can at least get a dump. I'm not about to put Mexican water in my RV freshwater tank. Some people will be putting the Mexican water in their freshwater tanks, but I've decided I am not going to risk that. Now this guy here, he's getting good power out of his. And I've got one of those search suppressors. I went and checked several of them. And the ones that I checked, about half the ones I checked were dead. And the other half either had 130 volts, or some had a good 120 volts. But I don't want to move around to find a good one. And I don't particularly need it anyway with my solar. It's only one night here, so I'm going to do without the power. There's one Airstream with us right there. This is caravan day 2, and we're staying at this RV park, which has a little swimming pool here, and it is right across the street from the ocean. That's actually the Gulf of California, but Mexico likes to call it the Sea of Cortez. There's a pretty nice beach here. I don't know how cold the water is here in the winter. I don't think I'm going to be going in it. And next to it is some interestingly shaped rock mountains. That really is just solid rock there. I don't know what that no means. This is another little square pool right next to the other one I showed you. And they have a pickleball court. Well, here is where they had me park. And of all the spaces in this row, I got the only space under a tree. Which you might think is nice, but for me that means no satellite TV while I'm here. The good news is I have 50 amp. The bad news is I only get that, well, let's say most of the day, because the voltage keeps varying, and not low voltage, but high voltage is the problem. Sometimes during the day, the voltage will spike up to 135, and my electric management system cuts off the power to my RV when the voltage gets above 132. Everybody is parked pretty tightly here. Now, this is a typical electric outlet setup for Mexico RV parks. They don't have the regular metal boxes. They have these white things that is, I guess, concrete. Kind of looks more like plaster of Paris. And I had seen some of these in other parks where they are just completely busted up because they had to get into it to fix the wiring. I was on another caravan into Mexico years ago, and I saw these everywhere I went. Do have a water faucet here. Well, there's the faucet on my side, but no dump station, so I got to figure out where the dump station is when I leave. Correction, I just found out where the dump station is. It is underneath my motorhome. And this is where the guy who works at the park backed me into, right here. There is the hole for the dump station, which is right in the middle of the RV space. How you like that deal? Well, at least when I leave, it'll be easy to dump. I just got to pull forward about 10 feet, and then I can get to the dump hole. This place is not only full, but they actually have a few RVs parked right on the main access through the park here, and have them plugged into wherever they can get plugged in. Popular place. They have monthly rates here, so I think people come down here from the US for the whole winter. There's their website if you're interested in staying here sometime. You could just make a one-day trip from Nogales, Arizona to here with not even hardly stopping. So if you're worried about safety in Mexico, this is one way to do it safely, really. It's a nice place, and they have some interesting art here as well. They definitely have some interesting landscape over here. Sharp, pointed little mountains, and there's it goes out into the water, and then over here is an island. Oh, looks like it is really popular with the birds. Looks like a big rock. Here's the restaurant where we're going to have our group dinner tonight. These are our caravan people. Everybody starts off with a margarita, whether you need it or not.
I'm going to take a picture of
How does that look, folks?
That is a gift.
Well, folks, that's a really nice winding up of day 2 here. Good day, folks.